Hello, welcome back to another Lightning Collection review. Before I get too deep into this, I do just want to give a little shout out to a couple of the guys that have been reaching out on Facebook in the last couple of weeks. So as I've been uploading and sharing content and stuff on some of the Facebook pages, I have had people reach out asking me if I am Lightning Collector 2021, which has led into some really nice conversations with members of the community out there. So I just want to say thank you to those who are continuously supporting me, and a little shout out to all those across the world that I chat to, particularly the chap in the Philippines that I spoke to on Facebook the other day, and then there was some other people who reached out. So it's really, really nice to have some conversations with you guys. So if you do see any of my content on any of the pages or Instagram, feel free to say hello. I love having those little conversations with you guys. So starting off this review, this is for the RPM Yellow Ranger from Hasbro's Power Rangers Lightning Collection. Now this one is a little bit of an odd one because unfortunately for us in the UK, we didn't get a release of wave 15. So she does come in another wave with Lightspeed Blue and Turbo Red Ranger, which I have already reviewed Turbo Red. If you want to catch that, have a little look through my list, you will find it in there. But I found this on sale on AliExpress and it was down to about £20, and then by the time you add taxes and delivery, it was actually at £25. And then retailers in the UK that are getting stock of these, they're all getting them from overseas. So we are having to pay import prices and they are advertised as import stock. So obviously the higher costs and stuff is being put on to the customer, as in us. So to be able to grab this for normal Lightning Collection price, which we would usually pay in the UK, I was more than happy with, because I didn't really want to pay £30 for this, which is what they are currently going for. And then obviously we're having to wait longer in the UK for these. Now I have had this figure for a little while and I've just had all the remasters to review, so I've made sure I've got them out first, and I haven't found the time to do this. So I will get into it. And looking at the box, you can see we've got our nice Lightning Collection logo at the top with a digital render of our figure and a nice bit of artwork in the corner telling us we're expecting the RPM Yellow Ranger. It is color coded throughout, so we have got our yellow bit at the top. And still in our plastic free packaging, you can see we've got our Power Rangers RPM logo at the top telling us what we're expecting in the box, with her helmet at the bottom. And as expected on the other side, just our RPM logo at the top with a nice bit of artwork of the Yellow Ranger on the side, and on the back with our giant sticker. Now every time I order from AliExpress, they do come with these sort of warning stickers and whatever throughout the box, and it's just showing us what we're getting inside. So it's a 5.7 inch figure. It comes with a couple of posing hands, two different versions of a weapon, a helmet, and the lightning effect piece that goes on the end of the sword. It's got a digital render of the figure and then all our legal stuff. So taking a look at our figure, this is how she comes out of the box. So you can see we've got our little weapon holding or grab hands on the figure already, along with the civilian head, which looks absolutely beautiful. I must admit, this probably is one of the better face sculpt, if not the best that we've seen so far. The hair looks very nice, tucked behind the ear, and the likeness is really, really good. The print on the front of the chest looks nice, as does the little seat belts on the front of her costume. The yellow throughout the figure don't look too bad, so I'm pretty happy with that. And then the nice sculpting of the belt that goes around her skirt, which is nice. Little hook for a weapon here. And then we've got some nice little tires around the top of the gloves and the boots. And looking at some accessories, we've got her two posing hands, her weapon in a gun mode. And one of the downsides about these guns, they don't unfortunately fit on here very well. So they're supposed to hook onto this little hook on the belt and then just hang freely from there. But because of the shape of the gun compared to the shape on the belt, and it has that little curved bit, it really doesn't want to stay on there. So that's really disappointing that I wasn't able to get that to work. I have seen some people do it, but they just sit really awkwardly, don't look right with the figure, and they're either going to come back like that or sort of just hang awkwardly like so. So it's just not even worth it. So I'd rather just pose it with her holding it and accept that she is not going to really have a holster. In a sword mode or baton sort of style weapon, along with an effect piece that goes on the end, so you can, well, you're supposed to be able to just put that on the end. Unfortunately that is a square and this is not, so it does not fit on there without probably heating that up and forcing it in, which I'm definitely not going to do. But that doesn't make any sense at all that we've got a bit of square entrance for our lightning effect piece and then there isn't a square on the end of the weapon, so that doesn't make any sense at all. And then finally a helmet. So this is painted quite well, but it does have like an off yellowish colour, which I'm assuming is maybe down to the plastic or the black in the visor on the side. But it looks like we've got some sort of hubcaps maybe, very similar to Turbo. And then we've got some lights on the top of the helmet in a nice glossy black and yellow, which does look pretty nice. And then looking at some articulation, so I have put the helmet on for this, but unfortunately the neck joint is very, very weak and it does pull out when I try and change the head. So just bear that in mind, be a little bit careful that it does come out, but it is on a ball joint either end, so it just pops straight back in. It's not a problem, but just bear in mind that that is a possibility. But with this, her head does look up and down a half decent amount, does do a full 360. The neck does obviously turn as well, depending on how tight your joint is for your head, but you can see there where it's starting to come away from the figure, so you do have to push it back in. It does have some very stiff butterflies on the shoulder, which again, unfortunately, I don't want to risk. Oh, there you go, that one's fine. And the arm does do a full 360 and come up and out, but again, very, very stiff figure. Because these arm joints are very, very small and the arms are quite small, it is very risky with this figure, so she will stand in a generic pose on my shelf, unfortunately. But she does have the double jointed elbows, which are pinless. There is rotation at the top of the glove. The wrists do a full 360 and then have a small bit of articulation depending on what hands you're going to use. The upper torso is on a ball joint, and then we do have some ab crunch in the middle. She does have drop down hips, so they do make her a little bit unstable, so you do just have to get them quite right into the position you want, otherwise you have one leg shorter than the other. But she has an upper thigh rotation, double jointed pinless knees, which we're starting to see on most of the female figures now. Rotation at the top of the boot, as well as some articulation up and down, and the ankle on a pivot at the bottom. So moving on to the final thoughts on the figure. So she does look really, really nice. The yellow does match throughout and the suit does look really cool. As I said, the head sculpt is probably one of the better ones we've seen, and it does look very, very nice. But the quality on her does seem pretty low, so the joints on the arms are not that great. They do seem very soft, as does the attachment on the belt. So when you try and put the gun on the belt, mine doesn't really fit on very well. I can see these coming to the UK, and I do think that they will show up at some point on a sale somewhere. Retailers that are getting these in the UK, they are import stock, so you will be overpaying, and unfortunately you may have to wait a little bit longer. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be interested to see your opinion on the figure, and if you enjoyed this review, please leave a like. If you do want to see more, consider subscribing, and it really lets me know that you guys are enjoying the content out there. So thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.